From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Now at 4:30, President Donald Trump signing off on a new COVID-19 relief bill. What that could mean for you and your next stimulus check.
This morning, long-term care facilities are beginning to give residents the COVID-19 vaccine. A look at where some of the first doses will be administered here in central Indiana.
And a local winery is changing its sales model to stay afloat during this pandemic. Their creative ideas as the cold prevents customers from sitting outside. First here at 4:30, I want to thank you for joining our team here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen is back with us after a little bit of a vacation. And Todd, we have a brand new friend in studio with us today, Megan.
The first time I met Megan here this morning, so it's good to officially meet you in person.
Oh,
Megan.
It's great seeing you in person
have you
too.
on the team as well. You know, Kyle and Alyssa were in last week while I was visiting the family, so it's good to be back as well. Chilly here this morning with temperatures that are sitting in the 30s. That cold front went through yesterday evening with a gust of wind, and then we had a little bit of rain shower activity with it and dropped the temperatures from the 50s to where we sit right now, which is generally right around the freezing mark. 32 in Lafayette, 31 in Peru, 33 is the current temperature in Indy. We had the gusty winds throughout the overnight hours, but here this morning we're just dealing with winds that you'll notice as you walk out the door, but they're not going to do any damage out there, anywhere from about 9 to 22 miles per hour, and they should continue to diminish as the morning wears on. But the clouds, they are in place. Here's a live look off to the west past White River State Park, and that's the problem today. The clouds, they're just not going to move out throughout the day today. They're firmly in place, and because of that, our temperatures are just not going to really move from where they are right now as we go forward throughout the course of the day. Most of the precipitation is out of here. Can't rule out the chance of maybe an isolated flurry here in the forecast, but nothing significant precipitation-wise throughout the day today. But here's your temperature trend. We'll fall another couple degrees here this morning for overnight lows, and then again pretty steady throughout the day with just mostly cloudy skies from start to finish. This whole week is going to kind of be up and down temperature-wise. More on that, Lauren, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out the door this Monday morning, maybe heading back to work after a Christmas vacation. Let's take a look up here on the northeast side, I-69 and I-465. You can see traffic there is moving along up to speed right now. I'm not monitoring any crashes to slow down your morning commutes. That is good news. It is 4:32. More than 5,000 new cases of COVID-19 were reported right here in Indiana over the weekend. That is a decrease, with more than 3,800 reported on Sunday and less than 2,000 on Saturday. According to Indiana State Department of Health, 493,841 total cases have been reported since the pandemic began. 65 more deaths, were reported over the weekend. December has now become the deadliest month for the virus, with 1,719 deaths so far.
Lauren, this morning, Hoosiers in long-term care facilities will begin to receive Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. Residents at Aspen Trace in Greenwood will be given their first doses around 11 this morning. We will have more on that distribution later today. So far, nearly 2 million Americans have received doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. That's as of Saturday morning, according to the CDC's data tracker. And those totals include both Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. And AstraZeneca's chief executive says they are confident their vaccine will work against the COVID-19 strain beginning to be seen in the United Kingdom. The CEO says their team of researchers have found a, quote, winning formula. IU School of Medicine is currently participating in the trials for AstraZeneca's vaccine. It has proven to be about 70% effective in making sure people don't contract COVID-19. That's in comparison to the one developed by Pfizer and BioNTech, which has proven to be about 95% effective.
Well, the colder weather we're seeing here in central Indiana is impacting some local businesses that have relied on that outdoor space and seating to get them through this pandemic. Up in McCordsville, family-owned Daniel's Vineyard is continuing to come up with unique ways to get their wine and food in the hands of their customers. They've created a quarantine kit. It includes wine, chocolate, and toilet paper. It's delivered to their newly created grape character, Grape Kelly. It's also the first time they have a pop-up shop at the Keystone Fashion Mall.
It's bring us like a lot of exposure because a lot of people coming in, they're like, we've never heard of Daniel's before, or we have, but we've never been there. And so it's kind of a cool way to get our name out there as well.
I mean, we have a full kitchen. So the opportunity again presented itself to, hey, how can we still, even though, the cold weather is here and the second surge is hit, how can we still continue to approach the community? So we created Daniel's at Your Doorstep. And with that, our chef and his team create pizzas, salads, sandwiches, breadsticks, you name it. And you can actually go online and order those items, and we can again bring them to your front door.
Well, the final days for the pop-up shop are Wednesday and Thursday this week. If you want to support the vineyard, the quarantine kits and Daniel's at Your Doorstep delivery is available for Marion, Hamilton, and Hancock County residents. And help is finally on the way for millions of Americans. President Trump signing the COVID-19 relief bill last night.
Yeah, Lauren, in addition to greenlighting the new round of stimulus checks, the president's signature starts lapsed unemployment benefits and dodges a looming government shutdown. ABC's Mona Kosarabdi has the details.
Nearly 1 week after calling it a disgrace, President Trump is backing down, agreeing late Sunday to sign a $2.3 trillion coronavirus relief and government funding bill, averting a government shutdown just hours before tonight's deadline. In a statement, the president saying, quote, I am signing this bill to restore unemployment benefits, stop evictions, provide rental assistance, add money for the Paycheck Protection Program, and much more. The president, spending the weekend golfing in Florida, had faced intense pressure to give in as unemployment benefits for 14 million Americans expired. It took Congress 6 months to negotiate the bipartisan relief bill. The president's own team, including Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, helped negotiate it. But then the president last week demanding last-minute changes, tweeting, quote, I simply want to get our great people $2,000 rather than the measly $600 that is now in the bill. Some Republicans criticized him for not raising his objections earlier.
If you want to make a $2,000 check, negotiate that from the beginning.
I understand he wants to be remembered for advocating for big checks, but the danger is he'll be remembered for chaos and misery and erratic behavior if he allows this to expire.
The president, in a statement last night, suggested he signed the bill after the Senate agreed to consider increasing the checks to $2,000, which the House is expected to pass today. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made no such commitment in his statement overnight, saying only that the president's, quote, leadership has prevented a government shutdown at a time when our nation could not have afforded one. Meanwhile, the delay in approving the bill already having consequences. Those Americans getting the extra $300 in unemployment benefits will likely miss 1 week of payments because of the delay.
I worry and I care about myself and my family. We need COVID relief so bad.
Mona Kosarabdi, ABC News, New York.
The investigation continues into the bombing that rocked Nashville, Tennessee on Christmas Day. Coming up, the heroes who evacuated residents just in time are sharing their stories.
And a setback for the Colts after their loss to the Steelers. What they need to happen next to get back in line for the playoffs. Todd.
And Lauren, the cold front went through yesterday evening with a round of wind and a round of showers as well. That's now off to the east. We're just left with the cooler temperatures here throughout the day today and quite a bit of cloud cover as well. We'll talk about your Monday forecast and look ahead to your New Year's forecast as well. Coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Only at Mattress Firm.
Well, the investigation continues this morning into the bombing that rocked Nashville, Tennessee. 6 officers who helped evacuate residents are being hailed as heroes. Reporter Hannah McDonald from our sister station in Nashville shines a light on those first responders who were there as the explosion went off Christmas morning.
This area must be evacuated now.
The sound of the announcement said, primary objective is to evacuate.
Evacuate now.
Something that weird. You don't get stuff like that.
As a chilling message blared from an RV parked in downtown Nashville Christmas morning, 6 Metro police officers cautiously walk toward the sound.
For me, it felt It felt weird, you know, all of the cop lingo that you hear about the spider senses, about the hair standing up the back of your neck. All that went through my body.
At a press conference Sunday, standing shoulder to shoulder, 5 of the responding officers shared in remarkable detail how they evacuated buildings on 2nd Avenue and experienced the bombing together.
And I just saw orange and then him, and I saw him stumble. And I felt it. I felt the heat, the wave. And I don't know how I kept my footing, but I kind of blinked and I couldn't see him for a second, and I just lost it, and I just took off in a sprint towards him. And like he said, I've never grabbed somebody so hard in my life.
The explosion caused Officer James Wells to suffer hearing loss in his left ear. It could have been worse, he says, without divine intervention.
This might not be politically correct, but this is my truth. I literally hear God tell me to turn around and go check on Topping, who was by herself down on Broadway. And as I turned around, you know, for me, it felt like I only took 3 steps. And then the music stopped, and as I'm walking back toward Topping now, I just see orange, and then I hear a loud boom. And as I'm stumbling, because it rocked me that hard, I started stumbling. I just tell myself to stay on your feet, stay alive.
Then Officers Wells, Amanda Topping, Tyler Llewellyn, Michael Sipos, Brenna Hosey, and Sergeant Timothy Miller rushed toward the flames.
I made a phone call to a loved one to let them know that I was okay. And then I ran to the intersection to check on Miller and Llewellyn to make sure they were okay.
And I was so scared that I just lost my entire detail because I didn't know where they were. I just saw them pass by it.
The officers, who may have shared the same shift and frequently worked the same scenes in the past, now share this nightmarish experience.
I don't know for what reason the gentleman or female, whoever it was that actually did this, gave the notice. I'm just grateful that we actually had time to try and help people clear out.
Of course, this is going to tie us together for forever, for the rest of life. And so just, you know, the love for them is even bigger now, and Christmas will never be the same for any of us. Love you, man.
That was Hannah McDonald reporting. We thank them for their service. And the FBI has identified the bomber who died in the explosion as 62-year-old Anthony Quinn Warner. Forensic analysts matched his DNA to the remains found at the scene. Investigators do not believe anyone else was involved at this time. We have more on the latest findings coming up in the next half hour.
It is 4:44 in Carmel. An investigation is underway after someone vandalized a nativity scene outside a downtown church over Christmas. The pastor at St. John Catholic Church here downtown says the damage to the characters was discovered this morning after Christmas. Every year the display is put up outside of the church, which is located along Georgia Street and Capitol Avenue downtown near the convention center. The pastor says he's witnessed people stopping with children at the display, explaining why people celebrate Christmas. He calls it a bright spot in the heart of the city and has a message for the person who did this.
To whoever did this, that they're always welcome here at our church, and we forgive them for any wrongdoing, but that, you know, they should take responsibility and injustice of the damage that was done. Our congregation, our faithful people are saddened by it or discouraged, but at the same time they're hopeful that anytime we have a chance to pray for somebody that's lost in this world, away from God and away from His church, that we have a chance to pray them back to Him.
Again, this church is downtown, and the church's security company was reviewing surveillance video, trying to figure out who destroyed the characters. The pastor says IMPD is also involved. If you know anything about what happened here, please contact Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, as the holidays come to a close, it will soon be time to recycle your Christmas tree. And there are designated recycling spots at 8 Indianapolis parks. Those will be open from now until January 31st. Trees should be left at the specialty designated areas you'll find at the drop-off locations. They need to be free of ornaments, lights, and tinsel, and they must be real, of course. You can find more information on this story on our app at WRTV. And Todd, I don't know know if you have any real Christmas tree to get rid of, but it's a good spot to take it.
You know, it's good, and then they take it and they chip it all up, and they use the mulch and the wood chips from the trees, and they spread it across the parks in central Indiana throughout the course of the spring. So definitely a great program. Take advantage of it, but follow the rules, as Megan mentioned there. All right, outside right now, lots of clouds around, and unfortunately, these clouds are just going to hold pretty steady throughout the day today. They're really not going to move out, and that's the problem, because that is what's going to prevent us from warming. 33 degrees right now, but it feels like 22 when you factor in this wind that is out of the west at 17 miles per hour. Temperatures in the 30s anywhere you go across central Indiana. A little warmer still here to the south and to the east as the cold air is still in the process of working its way here into central Indiana. But once you get to Tipton, to Peru, temperatures are below freezing as well in Crawfordsville right now at 31 degrees. You factor in the wind, and across central Indiana, everybody feels like it's in the 20s. So if you are working here this morning and you have to start your commute, definitely going to need to bundle up a little bit all across the area. If you're just off and you're going to be out and about throughout the day, maybe doing something with the kids, wind chill values are going to stay in the 20s from start to finish throughout the day today. So that's why even this morning and into the afternoon hours, you'll still have to bundle up a little bit with the hat and gloves just to keep yourself a little bit warm. Now, one thing you don't have to really worry about today is any precipitation. There could be a flurry or two, especially here in northern locations, but overall, we're just dealing with the clouds and these northwesterly winds, and the combination of the cloud and those northwest winds is what's going to keep our temperatures from moving much at all. Look at your temperature trend here throughout the morning and then into the afternoon hours. We're just hovering right around that freezing mark, and then into the afternoon and evening, temperatures still right around 31 to 32 degrees with the skies that are going to be mostly cloudy. Now this evening, the clouds finally start to break apart, which you would think is good news, but with the clearer skies, temperatures will start to drop off pretty quickly from the 30s back down into the 20s throughout the course of the morning hours. And then look where we end up tomorrow morning, your Tuesday morning, with clear skies. We're in the teens in northern locations, about 21 in Indy, 22 the overnight low in Bloomington, and then throughout the day tomorrow. I do think there's a little bit of sunshine to start the day tomorrow, but then the clouds will start to increase. It's still a chilly day with temperatures tomorrow that are going to be in the 30s, but by Wednesday, the temperatures are going to spike up into the 50-degree range. The trade-off, though, will be our next storm system coming in. It's going to mainly be rain throughout the day on Wednesday, but it will likely finish on New Year's Eve as a little bit of snow. So come Thursday morning, there could be a little bit of some slick conditions across parts of the area. Not expecting big amounts of snow, but nonetheless, as the temperatures fall to near freezing, could be a little chilly. New Year's Day looks to feature rain showers, Megan, as temperatures will be topping off in the mid-40s.
All right, thank you, Todd. Well, yesterday's comeback by the Steelers is putting a big wrench in the Colts' plans for the playoffs. Our Brad Brown explains what needs to happen next to keep their postseason dreams alive.
The headline from Sunday will read that the Colts lost to the Steelers, but a deeper dig into the details shows a bigger problem for the Colts, particularly if they make the playoffs. The inability to string together a full 4 quarters in any given game. It happened again in Pittsburgh.
I'm not doubting us. I'm not doubting our coaching staff. I'm not doubting the players. I'm not doubting what we're doing and how we're doing it and who we're doing it with. We had a bad game and our bad half, and we weren't able to finish it off. So we got to learn from it.
The first half was mostly great for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor chewed up the defense on the ground, punched in a pair of touchdowns, each coming on drives that worked more than 5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Jonathan, you can't say enough good things about him just as a person, first off, and the way he carries himself, and then just the way he plays football.
Phillip Rivers found chunk play after chunk play, big gainers to 5 different receivers in the half. The 42-yard touchdown to Zach Pascal had the Colts cruising to a 21-7 lead. The second half was a very different story. After an anemic first 40 minutes, Ben Roethlisberger threw a trio of touchdowns in just over 10 minutes. The third of those to Juju Smith-Schuster gave Pittsburgh the lead.
Striving for perfection is definitely something that we try and do, and from every aspect. And, you know, being able to put a team like that away after the first half is definitely something that we needed to do, because any spark and any life that you give them gives them the opportunity to come back and see and do what they've done.
Of course, you know, he's going to throw the ball down the field. I mean, down by 17, I mean, you know, he's going to throw the ball down the field. I don't know exactly, what went wrong. I got to look at the tape and see, what was different between the first half, second half. From players wise and everything else, see exactly, what went wrong, what we could have done better.
Wholesale changes to the Colts' offensive line eventually caught up with them. Rivers had trouble finding time to throw, sacked 5 times in the game, most on any Sunday of the season. A fourth-quarter interception cost a chance to regain the lead, and a final drive under 2 minutes came up empty with a turnover on downs. Steelers clinched the AFC North with the 28-24 win.
We gave them life. We've been on the other side of those before when you get going. When you get behind, and we let them, they were the aggressor. As it went to the 10-point game and a 3-point game, they were the aggressor. And I don't mean that from a play calling standpoint. I just meant in general, it had that little bit of that feel of like, oh boy.
Sunday's loss means the Colts will face some playoff pressure in their regular season finale. Indy is in a must-win game. They'll also need a loss from either Miami, Cleveland, or Baltimore. One of those teams will likely have 11 wins and be left on the outside looking in. The Colts host the Jaguars next Sunday. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
All right, go Colts. Thanks, Brad. And a restaurant is taking an elaborate twist on a classic burger. How they make the Gold Burger and what it costs after the break.
The classroom.
Build a future. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Well, Megan, this is a fancy and expensive new twist on the hamburger.
Oh my goodness, take a look at this. A restaurant in Columbia is offering a burger covered in 24-karat gold. In between the bread are double beef patties, caramelized bacon, onions, double cheese, topped with 5 pieces of 24-karat edible gold, leaves imported from the United States. I don't know, Lauren, would you try those?
I don't know about the edible gold. I mean,
I'd take a picture of it.
I would just take the burger and the gold separately.
I guess it's good for the Insta.
Yes, it'd be a good picture.
I'd eat the burger and take the gold to the bank.
Right.
I think that's probably what I would do. But,
that looks good this time in the morning, though, Todd. We're always hungry right now.
It's definitely Instagrammable, it looks like. So.
Yeah.
All right. Outside right now, we're dealing with still breezy conditions, lots of clouds and chilly temperatures. Clouds stick around all day. The temperatures really don't move. So what you walk out to this morning is kind of what you get throughout the entire day. Some sunshine early tomorrow, then the clouds gather, 36 degrees. Wednesday is warm, but it turns pretty wet for us. And then cooler temperatures as we head into 2021. More on your 7-day planning forecast and your latest news headlines coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.